we're back. Sorry about that. Just having a little bit of camera buffering, as you can probably see. Not really sure why it's doing that. A little bit annoying, huh? Definitely annoying for me because I didn't know it was doing that. All right, so I'll try and move slower. Maybe that will help for now. Oh, it is still buffering. Okay. All right, so back to the next lens. Now, the next lens is a monster, and so it was a monster I felt I needed considering the work I do. It is a 100-400 lens. So this is the newest lens out of the Nikon Z lineup. It is only a 4.5 to 5.6 lens. It's not a 2.8 as the other one is, but that's okay because if you're shooting at 400 millimeters or adding on a teleconverter 800 millimeters, that's less of a concern at that 4.5. Not only that, if it was a 2.8 lens, it would be massive. Just at this focal length, it would be massive. So I'll be honest with you, I have not tried this lens out yet. I just got it before I left for Spain, like the day before or a couple of days before. So I haven't really had a chance to try it out much and not at all in the field. So I will be using this in Brazil when I go in July to the Pantanal to photograph jaguars. So I will be using that then. But this is really, if you're shooting any type of wildlife, you're shooting any type of birds, anything like that, this lens is going to be invaluable just for the sheer focal length. Even at 4.5, I mean, most zoom lenses are 4.5. Unless you're getting, into a more professional range. Well, these are all professional, sorry, but unless you're getting into a much more professional range, Canon, for example, and Nikon have some very large 2.8s, but are a very long focal length with 2.8. The problem is that, again, they become very, very heavy. For the type of travel I do, not exactly the best option. Yes, I do. When I go to Antarctica in November, I will be on a ship, so these big prime lenses would be fine. But that, to spend that kind of money, to spend $11,000 on a lens for a few times that I can use it, not optimal. So these lenses are not cheap. They're still in the $3,000 range. But they are a lot cheaper than a $10,000 prime lens that may go down to a 1.4 or 2.8 and still going to get the same photographs. Okay, because, again, most of what you do is in your lens, all right? The quality of your lens, the quality of the glass in your lens and what have you. The essence of what you do, however, is in your eye. You can have the most expensive equipment out there and not shoot good photographs. People say, oh, anybody can shoot photo. No, it's not true. There's some of you out there that may be shooting with an iPhone or a Google phone or an Android or something and still capturing incredible photographs. So it's the person, it's the eye. The equipment helps, but you have to know how to use it. I definitely don't put down, people that do iPhone photographs or Android phone photographs. The main difference is less megapixels, and you're not going to be able to catch the detail. You're not going to be able to blow it up to, poster size, all of that. That's the main difference. So don't beat yourself up. Don't, feel less than if that's what you're shooting with. It's perfectly fine. So, that's my main equipment right now, and it probably will be for quite some time. So, now that I've shown the equipment, let's look a little bit more into some of the photographs and see what we can do. Now, I'm going to show you a photograph I edited yesterday. This was a set of panorama, photographs that I turned into a panorama. This is the end result. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit if I can. No, maybe I can't. It will not let me because it's already created it. I was going to show you how I created that. But basically, Lightroom has a stitching functionality. If I go to develop, on the develop side, actually, I'm going to have to back up. Let me show you with I'm just going to pull a bunch of photos and right click on it. And then if I do photo merge, panorama, that's how and I'm going to click on it just to show you. It's not going to panorama these photographs, but this is what comes up. And it's creating a panorama preview. It's going to go crazy because none of these photographs are set for a panorama. What I typically do is take several shots going across. See, unable to merge the photos. Sorry. Take several shots going across a scene, and then highlight them on either side so that I know which ones are in there, and then use this to merge the photographs. Of course, this one you can't, but then you can choose spherical, cylindrical, or perspective, and cancel that. And what you're going to end up with is something like this. So this is Madrid from a rooftop. And you can see it's really long, really thin, but just kind of something fun to do. Now, if you have fewer photographs, it's going to be not as thin, and it's going to be shorter, of course, and a lot more fun. But I just did this for fun, and it worked out well. All right, now let's look at, let me find a photograph. Okay, here's one that, all right, here's one that we can have some fun with. So I was kind of in a hurry, but I just captured the shot. I couldn't get, obviously, for obvious reasons, a clear view without the people in there. So we're going to just play with this and edit it a little bit. We're going to click on Develop, and I'll show you why I use Lightroom to begin with. Now, I want to tilt this a little bit because I don't like the angle. So we're going to do that. There we go. Now we've straightened it out. You can see that it's a little bit dark in here because, again, people constantly walking down this little road, and it is a road, believe it or not big enough for a car. This is the old quarter of Cordoba, and also known as the Jewish quarter of Cordoba. So we're going to go over here and use our shadow button, and we're just going to raise the light a little bit to lighten that up. Okay, now we've got this bright area up in here, and we can actually take the highlights down a little bit, and now we have a little bit more balanced photograph. We can also lift the exposure if we want a little bit. All right, so now you see the colors are popping, everything's the way we want it to. Want it to be. This is the beauty of digital photography, especially the type I do. As a cultural photographer, I may be in a situation where I have 2 seconds to snap something, and I don't have time to get the perfect settings. I don't have time to, because I personally don't shoot in auto. I shoot in either shutter priority or aperture priority. So it really depends on the situation and what's happening as to whether I can have the correct settings at the correct time. But it can be fixed in post-processing, as you see. So what I'm going to do now is point out to you some areas, some flaws that I want to fix. Right here, there's looks like, excuse me, a bit of a water spot that was either on my sensor, which tells me I need to get the camera cleaned or clean it myself, or it was on the lens. There had been some rain the day before. So I also want to kind of get rid of these people. It's okay to leave random people in your photograph. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Now, if I'm purposely shooting a photograph of a person, that's a whole different story, and I will get into that. So we're going to edit this in Adobe Photoshop. edit with Lightroom adjustments because I've made some adjustments in Lightroom and we want to include those. So I'm going to click edit and it will transfer this photograph over to Photoshop. Some people use Photoshop as their primary and they store all their photographs in Photoshop. I don't. I am primarily a Lightroom user and I like to shoot my store my photographs in Lightroom. Everybody's different. There's no right or wrong. It just is a different way of doing things. All right, so now we're in Photoshop. It's brought the photo over, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that we can get some detail and see. Now, let's go back up to here. We've got that water spot here. Now, I'm going to go into my tools, and I'm going to not use that one. They have moved things around in Lightroom, which is kind of annoying, especially annoying to me because I was used to where everything was. It's here somewhere. Where did it go? Come on, there it is. It's under the magnifying glass now. Instead of these all being separated out where like they used to be, actually, maybe I might be able to do it, but I'm not going to bother right now. Okay, so spot healing brush is what brush tool is what I'm going to use. And I'm going to show the circle over here on the gray. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, the circle, and I'm going to hold down Control and the parentheses. Oh, sorry, Function and the parentheses. Function. I don't use a Mac. I have. I enjoyed it, but I'm a PC person because you can upgrade your components in PC. Which I have done many times. Just recently upgraded to another video card. So, and gave myself more power and more space and all those things. I'm working with probably about 13 terabytes of space on my hard drives. So now I've made the circle bigger so I don't have to worry about it. And I'm just going to put that circle right over that spot and it's gone. So got rid of that water spot. If this had been film, here's another thing. If this had been film and there's nothing you can do, the water spot's there, that's it, you're done. So if you're out in the field and you're trying your hardest to keep your equipment as pristine as possible, you can't always do that. All right, so there is that issue. Now, I'm sure these are really nice people. I don't know them, but we're going to get rid of them. We're going to, maybe not their most flattering side, but also we don't really want them in the photograph. So I'm going to use this same tool and I'm going to start removing them. I'm going to do this little bit by little bit. You don't want to just do the whole thing at one time because it doesn't work as well. What it's doing is it's copying what other pixels. So we're going to just do this little bit by little bit. Whoops, see how that doesn't work very well? All right, let's make it a little bit larger so we can get in there. And you know what? I'm going to go back and Control Z to start over again. Now, I'm going to go to the healing brush tool and see if we get something better. All right. Whoops. Sorry. Actually, no, because I don't want to scratch that. I told you I'm not a Photoshop expert. Lightroom's my girl. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the spot healing. You can see the spot healing brush tool is the one I've chosen. We're going to go and try this again. So I'm going to just do little bits at a time. Little bits at a time. Let's do this part. And you see, it doesn't happen, it's not magic. We'd like to think it's magic. It's not. And we can fix that up. And in fact, I'm going to make the circle a little smaller. And we can fix some of that up with another tool. So we're going to just get rid of these legs. Sorry, sir. Nothing personal. we're just going to get rid of all that. We want to erase people. Again, I'm sure they're very lovely people. All right. So you see, we've done some work here. We've been able to do, get rid of some of the stuff. Not exactly how we want it, but it's a good start. It's better than starting from scratch with another tool. Other people do this different ways. This is the way I do it. This is the way I've been most comfortable doing it. I am not, again, the Photoshop god, so this is just what I do. Let's see if I get rid of that hat. See how it's just bringing out the door. I mean, there's the door. It's kind of crazy, huh? And it's not perfect. I wish it was perfect. It's not. But it certainly is better than waiting, I don't know, maybe 7 hours and annoying people saying, can you please, get out of the way. All right, so now I'm going to use the clone tool, which is this one on the left, clone stamp tool. And I'm going to do some more magic. So I want to kind of straighten this up a little bit. So I am going to take, whoops, sorry. That's the wrong one. Control and click. Whoops, sorry, I mean Alt click. Alt, see it changes the shape of the item. And I've captured that right there. So now I'm going to move this down so I can, now let me show you what it looks like here. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do to bring it back to normal. So we get more of our door back and its design. I know it sounds like it's cheating. Maybe it is a little bit, but that's sometimes what you have to do in order to get people out of a shot. Now I'm going to make this a little, whoops, sorry. I'm going to make this a little smaller again. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Now it's sometimes a lot easier if you have an edge to work with. It gives you a lot of definition, which makes it nice, and so forth and so on. You see what we're doing here. Let's do again. We're going to take this portion. Well, actually, let me make that a little bit bigger again. We are going to capture a little bit more of that. All right, so I'm going to put it over here, do my Alt and capture, and then we're going to recreate the rest of our pole that was already there. So now we've brought that back. We've also got some areas down here to work on that got a little messed up when we were using our tool. And you can just move that up there and see how that works. Let's do it over here on this side. We have some issues over here that don't gel very well. And let's make sure that's clean. And you see how we're kind of cleaning up the photograph. We're not doing anything to the integrity of the shot or the photograph as much as we are just really cleaning it up, getting rid of something we might not want in the photograph. And we can kind of clean that up there. See how it's starting to look normal again. We want to take some of this, and this is going to need to come over. And some of this. And we can bring that over there. And we can actually take this all the way up. Which is where the road actually went to. So again, it's not perfect. There are other ways to do this, but we're doing this a very, very simple way. Let's make this a little smaller again. And we are going to just clean this up. And then I'm going to take this area, because we have a nice edge, and I'm going to bring that down. Whoops. Let me take that away. So we don't want to capture any of this tree. Let's make that a little bit smaller. And we're going to capture right on the edge there, just so we have a guide edge, you can see. And we can just bring that down like so until we get to the ground. Now you see there's a little bit of issue there. We're going to fix that. Let's take this down here. And then we can create our edge. Oh, well, actually, we've still got some more here that we need to fix. So let's take that. And we need to clean that door up a little bit. Actually, we can probably make that a little bit bigger just so that we're not getting a lot of small areas. We can copy and paste that. And we can copy and paste that. So we're getting a little bit better, a little bit more correction, if you will, on the door. Do the same over here. Actually, we can take right from the edge there to give give us our edge. It's always nice to use an edge as an example. And bring that down there. And then we still have this area here. We can go back to our spot healing brush. Let's make it a little bit smaller. And we can kind of let our spot healing brush do some more work there for us. All it's doing is taking pixels from nearby areas and cleaning it up. And we're going to do that. And so it's, again, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better. It's a lot better. We've gotten rid of some very nice people. Again, I'm sure very nice people, but we didn't necessarily want these people in our photograph, right? So we're just cleaning that up a little bit. All right. And now we've gotten, there's another person there, I do see, we'll clean up. But if we take that back to original size, we can see we've really gotten, we've gotten rid of the people. We haven't lost the integrity of the photograph. It helps that these people were really, really in the far foreground, far background, I mean, because it's not the central focal point of the photograph. It is just a piece of the photograph. And when the photograph is normal size, it's really not going to affect it if it's not absolutely perfect. Let's bring it back up again so we can see. And even close up, you can see, well, that's too close up. But if you can see even close up, the door, it doesn't look unusual. It doesn't look like we've really done a lot of work. We've got clean edges here just by, fixing a few things, altering a few things, and cleaning up our photograph. Now, we've also got this woman who was peeking out. We've got a peeker here. Sometimes we've got people that really are trying not to get into your photograph, and they're trying to be good about that. Spot healing brush works really well for these small areas where someone's like peeking around a corner, and that's pretty easy to get rid of. Let's just get rid of her blue jeans. We don't have to, but we know she's there. We've seen her, so let's just kind of get rid of her, and she's gone. Is there anything else we want to take out of this photograph? No, we're good there. So that's all I use Photoshop for. I don't use masking and layers, and I mean, granted, part of that is because I'm not a wizard with those things. I know a lot of people love it. I have a lot of friends that use it. I don't. So now, and that's primarily because I like to keep as much of the integrity of the original shot and my eye and what I've seen as is. I don't like to play too much with that kind of stuff. So now I'm going to just save it. That's all I have to do is save it. Click back to Lightroom, and it has brought it back. There it is. It's in Lightroom all fixed. Now, I can show you if I can see where it is. There it is. That's what it looked like with the people. And now they're gone. So it's kind of a very, you see, it's very simple. It didn't take me very long. I mean, this was a simple photograph to do. There are, of course, more complicated, more, larger projects that you may want to work on, that you may have to work on, that take a lot more time. This one was fairly simple. Again, with the people, without. Kind of reminds me of that. Remember that old joke, what is it? Here's the church. Here's the church, here's the steeple, open the door, here are the people. And then here's the church, here's the steeple, open the door, where are the people? And that's kind of what we're doing here. So I don't know why, kids' jokes, it always reminds me of that. All right, now, so we've got our photograph touched up in Photoshop. Things that we don't like have been removed. Hey, sorry about that, Stuart. I didn't see you. Welcome. Welcome to our little Photoshop. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It was, for some reason, I got really intent on what I was doing. There is life. I got intent on what I was doing and forgot to look at the chat. Sorry about that. Thank you for that little tip. I do appreciate it. So shout out to Stuart Kirby. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. So this photograph now, it's still not exactly what we want it to be. I still want more to the photograph. So what I'm going to do is bring up the shadows a little bit more, just so we can get a little brightness in there. And then I'm going to take the highlights down a little bit. And one of the things I like to do is use the black function and bring up the blacks. Now, we don't want to actually bring up any of the vibrance or saturation too much, because then it starts to look artificial. This is as shot. These flower pots, and Cordoba, Spain is famous for the flower pots. This actually is famous for it, and it, as shot, they're vibrant. It's spring, so we are going to just touch it up a little bit, but really, really, really minor. You don't want to do too much. So the only reason I touched it up a little bit is to really make it pop and make it the focal point of the photograph. So we've got all that. I also like the dehaze function. That's one of my favorites. Now, this photograph is fine the way it is. I certainly don't have an issue with it as it is. Another thing we can do that's kind of fun, and we're just going to play around here. Let's edit in Aurora HDR. Again, I am not paid by any of these programs. These are just some programs I use. And Aurora HDR is a fun one. We're just going to see what it looks like as an HDR photograph, high definition resolution. That's kind of fun. Now, I think the flowers are a little bit bright, so we can here bring down the vibrance a little bit. I think it's just a little too bright if we go into an HDR. Now, I'm going to show you what it looks like before. That was our original photograph, and that is with HDR. I'm not a big fan of doing HDR on everything. I think it's overused. In this case, though, it did bring out some of the blue sky up here, which you can't always capture. And I do like HDR when it comes to, cobblestones and streets and what have you, because it really brings out the stonework and the intricacies of the doors and all of the plaster work and what have you. So when you're talking about old buildings and old towns and old streets, this one happens to be a medieval town. I do like HDR. So let's look again. This is flat without HDR. Not bad, but the HDR just really makes it pop. Thoughts? Thoughts? Anybody that's listening? What do you guys prefer? Love to know. There are some other things you can do. You see down here, you can have some other creative things. I'll show you. With Aurora HDR, they've got dramatic, artistic, landscape, all sorts of different things you can try. Dramatic is kind of fun. I'm just gonna put these on there, and then we can remove them. That one's called Sleepy Drama. You can do it a little bit, you can do it more, you can do it less. That one's actually kind of fun. Oh, that's fun. Okay, Stuart does HDRs as 3 separate shots and then merge later on. That's kind of fun too. Do you do it in your camera or do you do it post-production? And I ask that because I've done it both ways, and just for ease, depending on where you are, the time you have, all of those factors, I found the merge them either in the camera raw or Lightroom. Yeah, and I have done that, Stuart, and that is a really good point. So thanks for bringing that up. It's a good way to do that. You can do it right in the camera. Do 3 separate shots. Unfortunately for me, a lot of times when I'm shooting and where I'm shooting, the type of shooting I'm doing, I'm sometimes only able to get 1 shot off. Yeah, the D3S, yeah, and it does. All the new cameras do support that, doing it within the camera, but it does tend to make a mess of it. They haven't gotten the AI down well. Once I found this Aurora HDR program, again, not being paid by anybody. Once I found this program, I found that it really does a great job in post-production, and doesn't require me to do 3 separate shots with 3 separate settings, which that's fun, and if you have the time, it's great. Unfortunately, a lot of times where I'm shooting, I'm dealing with tourists that or other people that don't want to be bugged, so that causes a problem. It has, Stuart. I don't know if you caught the beginning of this, but I moved to the Nikon Z mirrorless system, and I haven't been shooting with it for that long, just about a year now. I really love it. I was, I went out of film kicking and screaming. So, I'm really, really kind of old school. I went out of film kicking and screaming, went into digital. I shot crop sensor for many, many years, shooting sports and what have you. And, wanted to go full frame, but because of, traveling and the heaviness, didn't really want to do, the regular full frames because I don't do studio work. Did go the mirrorless with the Z6 II and love it. So I think you will like mirrorless once you take that jump. And Sony makes great mirrorless. Canon I have not tried. I'm a Nikon fan. I'm a Nikon person. So you've got the Z6. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yes. Okay. Now Stuart brought up something really, really good. He's got the Z6 II, or getting the Z6 II, um, and using an F to Z adapter. I do have the F to Z adapter. I did buy that so I could use it with my other lenses. Here's the problem. You don't get all the functionality of the original lens when you're using the F to Z adapter. I like it. Exactly, Stuart. It's much cheaper to, if you've invested a lot of money in your lenses, prior lenses, and you can buy an F to Z adapter. I think it was around $500 if I'm not mistaken. For the time being, it's a great fix. You can use all of your other previous Nikon lenses using the F to Z adapter on the Z camera, and you're golden. It does take a little bit of an investment to start buying these lenses. I mean, these are like $3,000 a pop, so it does take an investment. Well worth it as time permits and as money permits. Hopefully some of the lens prices will come down as well as they do next generations. Yeah, it does autofocus. I don't know that it's as sharp, but it does keep the autofocus. But you'll have to play with it. You'll really have to play with it to see how you like it. I do have the FTZ, can't even talk, FTZ adapter, and I do use it occasionally, but now that I've been fortunate enough to switch to the other lenses, I probably will use it less. But I do have my favorite original Nikon lenses that were equally as expensive at the time, that I'm not just gonna sell for pennies or throw away. Absolutely, yeah. 10,000 pounds into your recent camera purchase, you're not going to turn around and spend another 10,000 pounds just to get the newest, latest, and greatest. I completely agree. It's an overtime kind of situation. Luckily, it was 2020, so your lenses are fairly new. That they're going to work a lot better. My Nikon lenses that I was using with the FTZ were more second generation, probably. First generation, second generation, and they were great. I wasn't satisfied. I felt like for me personally, I was using a Z camera. I wanted the whole kit and caboodle, and I was able to do it at the time. But by all means, the FTZ adapter is a really great thing that Nikon has done by giving us all an option to use our traditional Nikon lenses. And it doesn't matter if they're crop sensor or full frame. You can use them, and they're great. And I agree with Stuart. It's a fix for right now, and it works. Remember, most of what you're doing is in you as the photographer. The kit is important, but it's really you and your eye. Okay, so don't forget that. In the beginning, I even made mention that, there are people out there shooting with their cell phones, and capturing some great shots. I had a friend who, at my wedding, snapped a photograph of us walking down the aisle with his iPhone, and it's one of my favorite photographs of all time. In fact, I have it framed. So the difference is you're not going to be able to use a cell phone photo in a professional situation, whether it's in a selling it as a print or having it in a magazine or anything like that, and you're not going to be able to blow it up to a larger size. That's the problem, the only problem with cell phone photographs. Okay, so let's look at this photograph. So actually, funny enough, I added this sleepy drama as kind of a joke or a test, and I really kind of like it. I like how it brought out the darkness in the stonework. It's a little bit more realistic. So I'm gonna hit apply. Again, this is Aurora HDR. I'm going to go back to Lightroom. And there we go. And it's applied and it's back in my Lightroom. Again, a lot of people like to store their photos and use Photoshop. I really like the way Lightroom stores. I like the way it catalogs. And one thing that I cannot stress enough, get yourself a backup, a NAS. I have a NAS NAS system here with many terabytes in it for a secondary backup. The last thing you want to do is have a crash and burn and lose all of your work. Especially, I upgraded my computer to Windows 11 and had to reinstall a lot of things and didn't lose any of my work, which is one of the brilliant things and reasons you have a NAS. A NAS system is unbeatable. Okay, so this is kind of a fun photograph. I like it. One of the things that I always like to look at, just because I'm weird like that. I love black and white photography, so I'm going to click on black and white and see what it looks like black and white. Kind of cool. I actually don't mind that photograph at all, even with the HDR updates that I did to it. It's still kind of cool. The only reason I'm not going to do this one in black and white is because one of the focal points is the color of the flowers. And we, of course, lose that in black and white. Okay, yeah, that's okay. So you have some newer lenses, yeah. That 7200 is this. Yep, I hear you. I have that same lens, Stuart. The 7200 2.8 that came out 2003 2009. That's the one that I do use with my F-to-Z lens. I was using until I got these and no longer need it. But just a phenomenal lens. I'm going to tell you a funny story about that lens too, and you'll appreciate this. I was in Los Angeles. I used to live, and the space shuttle was coming home. My dad was in the space program and worked on all the J2 rocket engines. So the shuttle was coming home for the last time. I was up at exactly what I'm going to tell you, Stuart. I'm up there in Griffith Park, waiting for the space shuttle to come by. On the back of a 747, it's going to fly low right over the Hollywood sign. I'm going to get some great photographs. I'm standing there. I've got my tripod up. Everything's ready, and I have my kit sitting on the ground below me. And some little kid walks up and kicks my bag, and my 70 to 200 2.8 Nikon lens goes tumbling 100 feet down the cliff. And I think to myself, well, that's an insurance claim. This gentleman, a Native American gentleman actually, who was from the area, said to me, you know what? I'll hop down there and get it for you. And I thought, all right, you know what? Dude, if you get that lens for me, broken or not, there's a 20 in it for you, because I just really appreciate you making this offer. He did. Went down there, got the lens. Not a scratch on it. Stuart, that lens is still being used today. They are tanks. They're tanks. I don't know about these newer lenses being tanks. I'm not going to throw the lens over the cliff to, check that out. But yeah, that 70 to 200 2.8 lens, massive tank. It went tumbling over, not a scratch. Glass was perfect. I even took it to, I used it that day. I took some phenomenal photographs of the shuttle coming in, and then I took it to a camera store to have them check it out. Nothing wrong with it. Even the outside of the lens didn't have a scratch, not a dent anywhere on that lens. So, I don't know. Maybe they were made of titanium. I don't think they're making them that way now. But I'm not going to drop the lens to find out. That's for sure. But you are absolutely correct. A tank is that lens. A great description of that lens. Okay. So let's look at some other options here. Oh, you know what I do? Let me go back. Let me pull that photograph back up. So this is the one that I edited. Where is it on my list? There it is. There, that's another one. But let's see. That was that edit. That's my second edit. That's the last edit. Okay. What I'm going to do, and this is something I do just to remind myself, I put a flag on it so that I know I've edited it, even if I haven't exported it yet. Oh, oh no. Yeah, exactly. Stuart, I know. It amazes me the quality of the cameras, and you would think that you would have destroyed that camera and that lens, hitting the ground. I can feel your pain. I can imagine your tears rolling down your face as you're watching it cascade to the ground. But yeah, the lens hood, because it's made out of plastic, that's what broke. I am amazed, and I'm not all that surprised when you're putting that kind of money into something, into equipment. You definitely want it to be hardy, especially cameras. They need to be hardy because you're going to put them through their paces. Unless you're somebody who has a lot of money and just wants to buy cameras for the sake of buying cameras. If you're somebody who's really using it, you're going to be out there using it, and you want it to hold up. Oh, yeah, yeah. Stuart, you bring up some really interesting things. Um, you know, you see people, especially paparazzis, you see them get their cameras knocked and, thrown on the ground. Yeah, if somebody takes something and throws it on the ground, it's not going to survive. But cameras have to be hardy because we're using them, right? Like I said, unless you've got a lot of money to just throw away, and you're just, hey, this is kind of a fun thing to buy, and it sits in your closet, collecting dust, which cameras should never just sit in the closet, by the way. You want to keep them as temperature controlled as possible, but that's another note. Yeah, they need to be really hardy. They need to be solid. Otherwise, okay, there you go. Yeah, you work as a stringer. So, yeah, you're using your camera gear every day. I don't use my camera gear every day. I wish I was traveling every day, but I'm not. As a cultural photographer, I go on assignments and what have you. But yeah, if you're really using your camera the way you are, or your camera set, they better be hardy. Another thing, and again, these people do not pay me, but hold on one second. These people do not pay me, although I do have an affiliate link. Actually, it's not there yet. There will be an affiliate link on my website. This is the cotton carrier system. And Stuart, I don't know if you use this or something like it. It's brilliant. This thing is, let me see if I can show it a little bit better, get a little more light on it. There we go. The cotton carrier system. It's phenomenal because the camera, and I don't know if you saw it when I had my camera up here, I have a little device here on the bottom of my camera. And this is a harness that goes around you. In fact, I'll go ahead and put it on so you can see what it's like. It's very lightweight. I've worn it in very humid environments with no problem. And it just simply, if I can find a strap, it simply connects like so with a click. And then you've got this harness that's sitting there like this. Yeah, I don't use camera straps either. You'll notice that none of my cameras have straps on them. But what I do, this harness is phenomenal. It's got this mechanism where you hook your camera in and just twist it, and it can't come out. It can't come out at all. It also tethers to the harness so that you don't have to worry about it. Now, I really like this because I'm able to be out in the field. I have another attachment like this one. In fact, I've got it right here. It's a secondary little pouch, and you can hook it right here for a second camera or a tripod. You can actually hang a tripod from it too. But the nice part about this is your hands are free for walking, balancing, whatever you might need to do. And this camera can't come off. In order to take the camera off, and you can do it really very quickly, you twist, pull up, and you've got your camera. It's still tethered. So even if you drop it, it's not going anywhere. I really like this. Yeah, that's the problem I find with camera straps. Sorry, with camera straps and camera bags is, they say they're meant to carry a huge amount of weight, and they don't. This, and I can't. It's a relatively new company. It is based here in the United States. I can't stress enough how much I love this setup. I also have the sling that goes across. This is the Scout G3. There's one that's a sling that goes across that you can just carry, like as a sling type, which was sometimes better if it's, really humid or you're in a place where you don't want to carry too much. I absolutely love this. It feels like my life jacket because my hands are free at all times and my camera is right in front of me. Even if someone bumps into me, the camera is not going anywhere. It also comes with a little rain jacket, which is kind of cool. Believe it or not, I forgot about that one time. I was in the Amazon and forgot that the camera itself, the camera harness itself, had a rain jacket. So it has a little rain jacket it comes with. You can quickly, in the rain, throw it onto your camera. It's all good to go. I can't say enough about this. I hook my lens cleaner to it. It's sturdy. It's really sturdy, but it's not heavy. It's very lightweight. Absolutely, Stuart. I'm the same way. I use camera bags, but only for transit. Even if I'm in a place that's got a lot of tourists and they're warning you, hey, be careful of pickpocketers or, theft or anything like that. Yeah, if I'm in a car, I've got my cases with me. Absolutely. But sometimes I'm not. Sometimes, with the kind of work I do, oftentimes I'm in the field and I don't have a car, so I don't have the ability to have all the camera gear with me that I'd like. What is really nice about this is I can hang this here. There are also pouches. Hold on. There are pouches you can get to hook onto the side that you can actually put your longer lens in, and it balances. It really balances well. So for field work, I've never found any. I mean, I've tried everything. I've used. I can't remember what they're called now. Blackjack straps. They were great. But the cotton carrier, for some reason, it has just really nailed it. So I can't really say enough about this. I have nothing negative to say about about this product. Again, not being paid by them, although there will be an affiliate link in my website, and I will list that. Comes off really easily. You can take it off, and you're good to go. It's got, little loops and, places you can hang things from. This is an additional Velcro spot that you can hook this on. You can hook for another camera, a set of binoculars, whatever. Or some people actually also will hook their tripod onto this. So you can, when you buy these systems, you can buy these things. You can buy extra. Excuse me. Let me grab a Sip of coffee. You can buy extra of these little attachments to put on different things. You can even put them on your longer lenses themselves, so you can hang the cameras that way. Oh, you have a different kind of vest. Okay, a civvy bag. Okay, yeah. News. Okay, I have not seen the newswear chest vest. I will have to take a look at that. I have a feeling it's very similar to this. Sorry, this cotton camera system. It's like the same kind of vest situation. I will look that up. It's called Newswear Chest Vest. The cotton one is just one here that's made in the United States that I really, really like. It's well made. This particular one has been to many places so far since I got it, and it still is like brand new. You could literally look at this and say, has this even been used? And yet it's been in the Galapagos, it's been in the Amazon, Spain, it's been many, many places. Oh, okay, so that's a vest with pockets and hidden ones and pouches and stuff. Okay. You know, this is really interesting, Stuart. I'm going to point this out to everybody, that sometimes female photographers have a little bit of a problem with carrying vests and what have you, or wearing vests and what have you, because of excess weight up front. So, and I happen to be one of those people. So something like this works really well for me. I do have another kind of vest, a camera vest that I've used before. The main problem for me with the camera vests, like they do, and I've seen them. But the main problem for me with them is that I get very, very warm, especially if I'm traveling in the Amazon and in any type of humid environment. This is less warmth, I should say, less added warmth, which I really like. I do like the vests as well, though, because they've got lots of pouches. But so yeah, I mean, either one is good. This also has a little pocket in the front. You can put extra batteries in and all sorts of things like that. So lots of options. There are vests. There's this thing like the cotton system, which I'm a big fan of. Whatever works for someone, I think, is whatever they're used to using, whatever they enjoy using is really the best, because it works for you. The main thing you need to remember is to keep your gear safe. You need to keep it safe. It's a lot of money, as we've been talking about. There's a lot of money you're investing, so you don't want to leave anything to chance. As far as cases go, I have a million cases. Okay, I'm exaggerating. 500,000. A lot of different cases that I've tried over the years. If I'm, in a car and I'm doing, on the road doing photography, and I haven't had to fly somewhere, like Stuart mentioned, I tend to use, now I gotta think of the name. Hang on one second. Don't know why I couldn't think of the name. Pelican cases. Pelican cases are great. I use Pelican cases if I'm traveling in the car, because everything's very protected. Oh, that's nice. A free phone pouch. Oh, Huawei. We're not allowed to have those in the United States. But yeah, you can pretty much use it for anything, any type of phone. I'm going to check them out, because I have not heard of them. So, and it's called Newswear Chest Vest. I will definitely check those out. Okay, so where were we? Cameras. Those are all good options. Again, let me actually I can write in the chat. Hello, welcome, Flavio. Welcome to the stream. Um, we've been talking about cameras and gear and all sorts of stuff. So welcome, welcome. And also editing some photographs, playing around. Beelzebub. So why is my name Beelzebub? I know it's a weird one. All right, I promised you I would tell you. Let me grab Beelzebub. Hold on. This is actually Clifford. Hey! Portugal. I was just in Spain. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you, Flavio. I got to get to Portugal. This is Beelzebub. Well, actually, his name is Clifford, but for some reason I started calling him Beelzebub. Yeah, he's a little camera shy today, so we're going to put him down. My stepdaughter used to call me Bobby. Don't know why. So Beelzebub. That's where the name came from. A pupper. Yes, I've got two Yorkie puppers. Only one of them is being stubborn right now, but he's sleeping here at my feet. Love my little puppers. They keep me busy. Actually, they're the only reason I came home from Spain. Flavio, Spain. I have not been to Portugal. I'm sure it is equally as beautiful. Some friends of mine were in Portugal while I was in Spain. Didn't want to come home. I am in Portland, Oregon, actually. But I do travel a lot. I've lived in London. I went to school in London, lived in London for many years. Was born and raised in Los Angeles, but went to Spain for the first time, and I had to go to London for a wedding, and then went on to Spain and fell in love. So didn't want to come home. I am still eating tapas. I'm making my own tapas because that's all I want to eat, and I've been drinking sangria and tinto de verano. I don't know if they have that in Portugal, but it's big in Spain, and I'm in love. I don't know what to say. So I mean, you can. Oh, you guys can't see the map behind me. Oh, maybe you can. Yeah, you can. Let me angle that camera up a little bit. See, you can see the map behind me. I scratched that map off as I. Let me get some of this stuff away. I scratched that and COVID masks out of the way. I scratched the countries off as I visit them. I have not scratched off Portugal. I just scratched off Spain today, so that was fun. Antarctica, no, not Antarctica. What's next? Brazil, the Pantanal in Brazil, the wetlands in Brazil. That's next, and then in November, Antarctica, the Falklands, and South Georgia Island. Someday. Yeah, you guys all have to come to Portland. It's an amazing place. I know I say I want to leave. I want to go live in Spain or Portugal or something, or even Italy. I I'm eligible for Italian citizenship. I haven't done it yet. So, but Portland, London, not London, London I love. Portland is really a wonderful place to live. I shouldn't want to move, but I've got wandering feet, so I don't know what to say. Portland, Oregon, in the United States. West Coast, just above California. And when people from other parts of the world, I don't expect anybody to know where or what Portland is. Everybody in the United States knows it, but because it's always in the news. But I just say it's just like above California. Everybody knows California, so it's West Coast, above California. In between California and Washington State is Oregon, and Portland is in the northwest corner of Oregon. In not about 2.5 hours from Seattle. Seattle is probably a more recognizable name to you. No, the other side of the country. The West Coast. The capital is Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is in the East Coast. Washington State is, I know it's confusing. I don't know why we have two places named the same thing. I do apologize. I apologize on behalf of the people who name things in this country. Sorry, let me fix the camera a little bit. Or not. There we go. I think that's better. Okay. Yeah, so it's the other side, the other Washington. And Oregon is in between. You've heard of the Oregon Trail? Anybody ever play the game Oregon Trail? Anybody know Oregon Trail? Well, that's Oregon. So, and everybody was heading to Portland. So that's how that worked out. What else? What else about Oregon? I don't know, it's a really pretty place. And let me show you some photographs. No, yeah, I'm not a game player, so I know I'm on Twitch and I don't even play games. What is that about? Let me show you some photographs of Oregon so you can kind of get an idea. Oh, that's not Oregon per se. Oh, here you go. We have Multnomah Falls. A road trip. Where are you going? Where's your road trip? In the U.S. or U.K. or? That's just water, by the way. This is also Oregon. That's Mount Hood. A lot taller than it looks. Oh, and Scotland. I love Scotland. Yeah, I've driven all over the UK. I love road tripping in the UK. Actually, I would love to get a canal boat and just, do the canals too. But that's a someday for me. So we all have our somedays. So many things on our bucket lists, right? I mean, life's too short and we just don't have enough time to cross all these things off our bucket lists. So this is also Oregon. So Mount Hood. Mount Hood is the active volcano in the Portland area. Yeah, we live near an active volcano. Granted, it's kind of weird, but it is beautiful and it is perfect cone. Funny enough, this was in autumn. As you can see, the leaves had changed and there's still snow on the mountain. It's kind of a really interesting place. It can be very, very warm in the city, and then you get out there on up to Mount Hood, which is what that volcano is, and it's snowing. So, yeah, it is kind of cool. Hey, welcome. Welcome. So, yeah, it's kind of a interesting place to visit. Let me see if I can show you some more of Portland so you get an idea. It is a pretty place to visit. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, there's the Multnomah Falls. Huge. Lots of pictures of falls. We don't get a lot of snow, but when we do get snow, we drink wine. How's that? I do travel a lot. I try. I don't like to keep still. Keeping still is boring, right? Let's see. Here's more of Oregon. Oh, that's some of Cuba too. I did a book on ghost towns. So here's some of the stuff from my book. This is a ghost town in eastern Oregon, kind of on the Idaho border, up in the mountains. It was at one time the largest gold deposit. Thank you. Thank you. I did I see any ghosts? I felt them. I'm not gonna lie, I felt them. I don't know if I believe or not. The jury's out, but I felt them. When I was here, I went here during the summer and during springtime. There was still snow on the ground. This was creepy. I'm not gonna lie. This was really creepy. I felt like I was being watched. Even I had the pupper with me. I had a little Beazle with me, and the hair on the back of his neck was standing up, as was mine. So this is a town called Cornucopia, and it was the largest gold deposit in the U.S. At the time. And this was the hotel or bunkhouse, if you will, still standing from the 1800s. I know. Those of you in other countries are like still standing from the 1800s. Are you kidding me? But remember, this is made out of wood. This is in the infancy of the United States. And these were not buildings made out of stone or, cathedrals or anything like that. These were just slapped together with wood. And so it is amazing that they're still standing. Ghost towns are fun. I love ghost towns. You notice I took my dog with me when I went on these ghost town trips, because and he's not a lot of protection. I showed you. He's what, he's like 5 pounds. Not a lot of protection, but it was a false sense of security for me, having a dog with me. Here's some more. This is Frank's place. Frank was alive in the 1800s, and when he left his house, no one moved in. No one ever bought Frank's place from Frank, so that was fun. Here's another. This is just sepia tone in the photograph, just because it looked like it needed it. But nothing has been altered. This is exactly how this house was left. Ghost towns are a blast. And there are more ghost towns in the state of Oregon than any other state in the United States. I'll show you a fun one. This one, if I can find it, was right near my house. Which kind of was weird for me. Oh, wait, hang on. You got to see these. It kind of was weird for me when I moved to Oregon that there were like one-room schoolhouses still standing and cars like this in fields everywhere. I guess that's why I got on the road and did all these photographs. Oh, here's another one. They're just incredible. I mean, they're just sitting on somebody's farm. It's wild. Things you don't expect to see in the 21st century. Kind of weird. I'm looking for that one that's right around the corner. Loosely speaking, around the corner from where I live, which I came upon and was really very weird. I mean, here's like, from the Oregon Trail, this wagon is just still sitting on somebody's property from the 1800s. It's really kind of wild. Here's that same hotel, but in the summertime. I don't think they do, Flavio. Oh, Svetty, you're coming to Portland. You're gonna love Portland. Portland is a blasty. There's a lot to do in Portland. And you're coming the end of the year, so yeah. I mean, the weather will still be pleasant. We don't really get that much snow. If we do, it's like Snowmageddon. It's like an inch, and the world stops. I think I think maybe the ghosts don't know it's the 21st century. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Amesie's, loads to eat in Portland. I mean, starve yourself before you come to Portland, because there is loads to eat and drink. Also, another thing Oregon is famous for, more craft beer breweries than anywhere else in the United States. So if you like beer, if you like wine, we're really, we've got a lot of Pinot Noir and all sorts of stuff. Wineries everywhere. So Spetty, go check out some of the wineries. Tualatin Valley Estates, part of the Willamette Valley Estates winery. Super incredible wines, and fun place. Really beautiful up in kind of in the foothills and, overlooking everything. A really nice place to get wine. Oh yeah, if you like craft beer. Oh yeah, Portland's the place. Just loaded with craft breweries. Tons. Sorry, gotta get Beazle. Beazle's crying. Tons of craft breweries. Lots of pubs. Pubs not in the British sense, admittedly. But I love British pubs. But we do have lots of breweries and lots of bars that have 20 taps, and they change, and you can try different things. They give you tastes and what have you. So if you're a beer lover, you're gonna have a lot of fun. That can't fault Portland for that. Oh, hey, this was the jail up in that town of Cornucopia. Look at that, still standing. The jail, small jail, small crimes. I guess, I don't know. Was just kind of fun. Let's see, where are the one-room schoolhouses? Oh, hey, this was fun. That's a town, the town of Galena. That's it. That's all there's left, is that building with its name on it. Just fun stuff. It is really fun to go ghost town hunting in Oregon. If any of you ever get the opportunity, look, this is not a ghost town, right? It was a town at one point in time, and this is all that's left. Just incredible. I mean, it looks like those houses. The one house is blowing over the other house. I don't know. I used to get into a fun argument with a friend of mine from South Africa about the Three Little Pigs. She was astounded that in the United States, at least in the West Coast, we build things out of wood. She said, "Haven't you ever read the Three Little Pigs? You build out of brick because that won't blow down." And I said, "Yeah, but on the West Coast, we have earthquakes, so we can't build out of brick. We have to build out of wood, and it lasts because of earthquakes." So this is just one house blowing down another house. Let's see. Oh, this is fun. This is a one-room schoolhouse. You can see old cars in the background there. I'm still looking for my favorites. Another random horse cart from the Oregon Trail in the 1800s. I'm one of those people that I love to travel, and I love to see new things, and I love to photograph all these things, but I also have taken the time to really investigate where I live, because I think that's equally as important. Here's just an old gas station, old pump. This one is actually in Washington State, not Washington D.C., Washington State. In the middle of nowhere, and it's a schoolhouse in the middle of nowhere. What's weird about these ghost town photographs and doing this kind of travel and this kind of photography is I'm really capturing somebody's life. I mean, people lived here, people existed here. They had stories. They had family. They had relatives. They fell in love. They had children. They were children. They played. All of these things are really fascinating to me, and part of the photography aspect of it is that I feel like I'm trying to capture that essence, that somebody existed. People existed. We're not just a birthday and a death day. We're so much more. That dash is our life, and lives mean something. So that's kind of when I do my photography, that's kind of part of my impetus, is that I'm really capturing that aspect of, people existed. I mean, look at this car. This was somebody's car. This was somebody's pride and joy. They drove to town. Their children were probably riding around in the back of what's now a missing pickup there. So kind of interesting stuff. I cannot find the one picture I want to show you, which was that really cool schoolhouse that's right around the corner from me. And that's making me sad because I know it's here. But anyway, Oregon has a lot to see, so I do recommend you coming out here. Um, just just a fun place. And Portland is really cool. Granted, lots of food, as Amesy's mentioned. Amesy's apparently lives in Portland. Lots of food, or you've traveled to Portland. I'm not sure. But lots of food, lots to drink, lots of good stuff to see, even outside of Portland. Lots of fun stuff to see. So you definitely don't want to just limit yourself to Portland. Unless you only have a few days and you're trying to get away, then just have fun in Portland. One of my favorite places, Spetty, in case you want a recommendation, I'm going to write this down for you in the messages as well, if I can get my cursor over there. Ah, there it is. Okay. It's called Bartini. I think they did survive the pandemic, because I think I've just seen them recently. Bartini. Bartini is a fun place. Let me actually do that a little bit differently. At Spetty. There you go. Bartini. Bartini is a fun place to go have drinks, and that's in the Pearl District in Portland, if you happen to be there. Okay, so back to photography. Lots of fun places in Oregon. All right, I'm going to go back to... Oh, you know what? Let me go to the Galapagos. Oh, no, I know where I'm going to take you. You want to go to... Okay, I want votes. Do you want the Galapagos or do you want polar bears? Galapagos or polar bears? Any votes? Bartini's great. You're gonna love Bartini. Lots of martinis and appetizers, kind of like tapas. It's really cool. All right, so we're gonna do Spain. You want Spain? Okay, we'll go back to Spain then. Let me find, where did I do it? It's S, right? S for Spain. It's all alphabetized. Let's see what I love about Lightroom. It's all alphabetized. Let's go back to Spain. All right, so back at this photograph. So love this photograph. Lightroom. What can Lightroom do? Lightroom. Now, I'm gonna export this. So export, because I like what I've done with it. I don't want to do anything more to it. I'm gonna export this in web paged size. Now, why do I do this? I do this so that yeah, I have a watermark on it, but people can remove watermarks. If you export it for display, as I will in my on my Facebook, on my Instagram, as well as my website, I don't want people to be able to take the photograph and use it and enlarge it. So one of the ways that you can do that is by making it a web-paged size. Now, I'm going to custom name it. It's not the Amazon. That's an old one. We're going to say this is Cordoba, Spain. And I was going to say Cordoba Street. We'll do it that way. What I do is, of course, it's a JPEG. I give it 100 quality. Resolution no more than 72, because at 72 resolution, that's high enough for a beautiful photograph on the screen, but yet you can't download it and really do anything with it, if somebody's going to try and steal your photograph. So that's good. And I do a long edge of 800 pixels. Do not enlarge, but I do a resize to fit long edge of 800 pixels. So whether it is horizontal or vertical orientation, it is going to be a uniform 800 pixels. Sharpen for screen, amount high, leave the metadata, that's fine. And then I put a watermark on it. And in this one, I'm going to put lower left white, correct, and export. Now I'm going to show you what happens. It's still exporting. It's going to take a minute to export because it's being slow. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to go into my finished photos and go down to web size, which I've created a whole grouping for, and Spain, which I've created, and it says it's, oh, because I put it in the wrong place. Wow. All right. That was good. Let's do this again, shall we? Export. We're gonna keep the same things here, but we need to get it out of Ecuador. We're gonna put it in web-sized Spain. How about I put it in the right folder? What do you think? All right, now we'll export it again. I'll get it out of Ecuador. There it is. Look at that, Cordoba Street. So I'm gonna pull that up. Oh, that's right. That's why they're not. I have to open it with something because I upgraded and took out something. So we're going to use paint. All right, so you can see here, let me make this smaller. You can see here come on, or not. There we go. It's a nice size photograph for the screen, but if you tried to print it out, it wouldn't come out very big. It's still gonna be a small size. It would pixelate if you tried to make it larger because of the 72 pixels instead of the normal 300. So you'll see I just have my little watermark down here, nothing too intrusive, just says who it is. That is the name of my company, Pawl-Frederico Photography. And so now it is ready for me to publish on my website. Now I'm going to pull up my website. Actually, I'm going to pull up my creating of the website. I use Weebly. Probably shouldn't. Probably should be using something a little more professional. But there you go. It's thinking. There we go. All right, edit site. So now I'm going to put that up. That's polar bear. Yep, that is a polar bear. See, I wanted to show you polar bears. There you go. I want to put that in places, but I need to add a place. So let me go ahead and do that if I can remember. Build a page, and I'm going to add a page. I'm going to do a standard page, and we're going to call it Spain. And I don't need a header, so we're going to get rid of that. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and start with a layout, which is probably none of these. It's not. It's been a while since I've done this. Oh, you know what I can do? Sorry about that. I am going to open this, and I'm just going to, for ease, drag it. And now it's in my website. And what I tend to do is I create a gallery. So no, I don't want to do that. I don't edit anything in Weebly, in any type of website builder. It's not a good idea. So what I want to do is create a gallery, and I can do that here and just bring gallery in there, and then it'll create more of a gallery for me. Oh, it's actually done it here. So I'm going to move that here. Or actually, you know what? Let's get rid of that. Let's just do it this way, because I created the page and then I brought over gallery. So I'm going to upload the image this way. Web page size, Spain, and I'll bring that over here, and it's just going to upload. So it's brought it in a gallery size, but you see it's kind of done it a little bit weird. You have to go to advanced image ratio, none, and then it's going to leave it as the original. So I usually do, hang on, let me publish. And then we'll go back to here, and you can see I usually do, in mine, I do 3 across. I do this narrow focus because it's also working on mobile, so that it fits with mobile as well. So now if we go to places, oh, I didn't put it, it's in more, I guess. Hang on. Let me see where I put it. Pages, there we go. All right, so where did Spain go? Spain is way down here, so I want to move Spain up to places. And now I can publish again. Now it should be under places. Oh, would help if I refresh. Places, look at that. Whoa, places. Spain. And there's the photograph, and of course you can open it up like that. But if someone were to try and save image as, they could do that, but the image is going to be so small. I've just saved that on my desktop just to show you. The image is going to be so small. See, I don't have something loaded that I need loaded because I upgraded to Windows 11. Windows 11. Let's pull it up a different way. There we go. Cordova Street. Open with Paint. And you'll see it's not a very big size, only 158.1 bytes. Not going to be something that you could steal and blow up or anything like that. So I always advise people to do it that way, so that way they don't lose the rights to their photographs. It's there's a lot of that going on. You really don't want to, and just putting a watermark on it doesn't do any good, as you noticed in Photoshop how easy it was to remove that. So yeah, I mean, let me, for those that joined later, let me show just a little bit about the process of that photograph. So that's how that photograph started out. It's I was able to quickly snap it while I had as few tourists as possible on this little street. Wanted to capture the flower pots and all those other things. Didn't have time to even get some settings the way I would normally photograph them. So I knew I could adjust it in post-production. Went to there, went into Photoshop, got rid of all the excess, very nice people, again, I'm sure, but got rid of the people, brightened it up a little bit. And then I took it into Aurora high definition because I didn't like the flatness of this photograph. Now, again, I want to just reiterate, I'm not a big fan of using high definition on everything. I think it's overused. It is good for some things. Can be done right in the camera, as Stuart mentioned earlier. I tend not to have the time to do that, so I do it this way with post-production, Aurora HD. Again, I am not paid by any of these people. These are just programs I like and I use. And this was the final result in how I liked the photograph. So it really brought out, in this case, high definition with a street with cobblestones, things like that, with the textures. It really brings out the textures and just gives it that extra little bump, and doesn't make it look quite as flat. You see, that looks a little bit flat, and that just has a little bit more character to it. So that was the process there. All right, Spain. What else? What else do we have? Anybody like Gaudi? Anybody like Gaudi architecture? That stuff was really wild, let me tell you. Big fan. I'm a big fan of Salvador Dali. Dali and Gaudi were Gaudi was older, but they were contemporaries, but both very similar in style with surrealism. Gaudi in architecture, and of course Dali in painting and sculpture. But just some incredible buildings. I would love to live in this building. I don't know about you, but it's just really cool. I could totally live in. I could live in Spain. Right? I mean, I've said that already. Spain would be a place that I could just live in. Eat tapas every day. And in fact, this trip we titled it "The Girls That Ate Spain." Uh, Sorry, because yeah, that was our goal to eat as much tapas and drink as much sangria and tinto de verano as possible. I think we succeeded. I think we put a dent in there. Um, let's see. Okay, let me show you some of the. Let's go. We were there during Semana Santa. So in case anybody doesn't know what that is, Holy Week or Easter week. Um, we just happened to be going at this point in time because, again, that's when our friend's 2-year delayed wedding was set for. Uh, and we ended up in Spain during Semana Santa, so went down to Sevilla. In Sevilla, it is known, I did not know this, they are known for their processions. And maybe Flavio, who is from Portugal, yeah, yeah, Flavio's from Portugal. One of the watchers is from Portugal. You maybe I'm not sure if you have it there, but fascinating. This was Semana Santa was incredible, and it took a city like Sevilla, which is normally interesting and normally beautiful, and just accelerated that, and it was kind of like a city on crack. It was so incredible. Um, this is like just some of the processions happening. This was kind of in the beginning. I know Americans look at this and they're like, I posted a couple of these photographs. Here's an example. That wasn't a particularly good one. But I posted some of these photographs, and let me get to some that really show the point. This is one of my favorites. And Americans look at this and go, "You are? Yes, I thought you were from Portugal." Do they have Semana Santa in Portugal as well? I'm assuming they probably do. I don't know if they have the processions like they do in throughout Spain, mostly in Sevilla. Um, yes, yeah, absolutely. Portugal and Spain are, and again, Portugal is on my list. Definitely on my list. Uh, yeah, both Catholic countries. So they have the Semana Santos, but Americans look at these processions and instantly think KKK. Uh, yeah, I was prepared. Yeah, I would imagine the clothing is different for sure. I was prepared for this. I had been in Ecuador prior, in Quito, Ecuador, and saw a painting with people in the processional dress, the penitents for Semana Santa, and it was explained to me. So I was prepared, and I was actually very excited about getting to experience it as something that was very different from what I used to. Again, I'm a cultural photographer, so you can understand how this really piqued my interest. But so yeah, Americans look at it and they think, that looks a little KKK-ish. Um, yes, it can be confused, but no, it has nothing to do with the KKK. These are penitents, and walking, and many of them walking barefoot or in socks. And it was hot, and they were in this heavy clothing and gloves and what have you. So very dedicated people to their religion and their beliefs and what have you. And while I don't share the same beliefs, I was it was beautiful. I was really enthralled by it. And their devotion, the devotion was something that was really incredible. These are the kind of pictures that I love. I love taking photographs of children, of older people. It's the faces, the eyes that just really tell a story. This little girl, in her Easter finest in the procession with her little basket of candy and flowers. And Mom was so proud of her. You can see Mom standing behind her, just, I asked if it was okay to take a photograph. Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I wouldn't do this in black and white, because I love the colors. The colors are really, really something that need to be seen. The colors were magnificent, and that's one of the things that is so astounding. The colors, but so I ask people, if I ask their permission if I can take a photograph. Rarely will I take a photograph kind of on the sly. And sometimes I'll do that if I'm in a less developed country and there's just a complete language barrier, and I'm not publishing the photograph, but I just have to capture a moment. But most of the times I will ask people if I can take a photograph, just because it's the right thing to do. This little gentleman, I can't even see his face. I want to pinch his cheeks. But this was incredible. This again, these are the kind of photographs I like to capture. It captures the essence. Even if we, enlarge that and bring that photo right up. Look at his eyes. To me, this is capturing the world, capturing the essence of the world, and how we're all so similar. We're all different, but we're all similar. We're all human beings. We're all sharing this planet at the same time. We're all experiencing the same things. We've all gone through this horrible, horrible pandemic, where we've lost so many. We've all, we're all coming out the other side. We're all survivors. Yeah, it's just, we need to celebrate our similarities, more than our differences. I mean, and enjoy our differences. That's what makes it beautiful. I don't want us all to be the same. Then there's no reason for me to travel and see other cultures and immerse myself in other cultures and witness things and be part of it. But we're all human beings, and we all share the same planet, which is really, really the important part. This is one of my favorites. I mean, this lady, quintessential Spanish woman for me. And I have not edited this photograph at all. She was walking by. I asked her, "Excuse me, can I take a photograph?" And she even said, "Would you like me to take my mask off?" Absolutely. And she took her mask off. You could see it in her hand, and posed. Just incredible. And people are like that. If you ask them, "Can I take a photograph of you?" Rarely will you find someone that says, no photographs. I've even been in Muslim countries. I was in Zanzibar, the island off of Tanzania, and it is entirely Muslim. And a woman in a full burqa, only the eyes showing, was walking towards me, and it was a medieval street, and the setting was incredible. And I had a man from Zanzibar who was with me, who was guiding me, and I asked him to ask her, would it be okay if I took a picture? And she was just more than happy to stand there and let me take a photograph. And it was just an incredible moment. So these are the things that people all over the world, I think, are the same. You can relate through photography. I think photography really has the ability to bring us together and to relate far more than anything else, because people relate to cameras. They really do. Again, rarely have I ever had someone say, no photograph. Even stars in Hollywood, they love having their photographs taken, and I've done that too. But people are kind. If you're kind to people, they're kind back. That's the essence of life. At least my mantra. If you're kind to people, and you smile at people, they're gonna smile right back at you. So I like this photograph. I'm gonna edit it. So let's get rid of that trash can, as it just has no place in the photograph, right? So now that looks better. Now she's the focal point. I'm going. I want to enhance the black because we want the jet black to just really show up. I mean, she's got these beautiful dark eyes, dark hair, and the costume itself is black. So doing a simple thing on Lightroom, like bringing the blacks, you go to the left. It's really counterintuitive. To increase the blacks, you go to the left. Really weird, but that increases the black and enhances the black. So, and that's what we really wanted to do with this photograph. I do that in most photographs with Lightroom because that function really just makes a lot of things pop. My two favorite functions on Lightroom are this right here, the black bar, and dehaze. I like to dehaze things. Even if you're using a polarizing filter, you're still going to get some haze. And that dehaze is just a godsend. You've got, those two buttons are really your keys. So, there's very little, there's nothing I want to take out of this photograph. I just really want to make sure she's highlighted as much as possible. I may bring highlights down a little bit just so she's highlighted, so she stands out a bit more. And for right now, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to star that, or flag it. I already did. Flag it because I'm not going to export it yet. I may want to adjust some things, and then I will go back to that. So I'm going to leave that one as is. I want to go back to that photograph of my little friend. My little friend in... Oh, wait. Actually, let's do this one. This one just... I don't know. There's something about it I just love. They were all, rushing. They were late to their procession. I really loved the different costumes. I mean, these guys had to be just boiling hot. It was about 80 degrees Fahrenheit that day. These were heavy velour outfits. Some of them were heavy ones. Yeah, I really like this photograph. So I'm not going to edit that one right now, but I'm looking for the one I want to edit. Let's do this. Okay, here's another one. So again, as a cultural photographer, I really like faces, children, the elderly, things that capture the essence of a country and a place. And for me, these two little girls dressed in flamenco dresses, quintessential Spanish dresses, because it's Easter weekend. I just, I saw them and I ran up and I asked their mom if it was okay. Yes, it's fine. And the two little girls just in their natural state. I prefer when people don't pose, but here's the thing. Even when someone poses, they're still posing as themselves. There's still an essence of who they really are when they pose. But I tend to take a few photographs, so I catch them before the pose, while they're posing, after the pose, and it depends which one comes out the best is the one I use. Now, this one needs very little in the way of adjustment. I'm just going to get rid of it. You see that there's a little bit of sunlight down here that's distracting, so I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm just going to bring the doors down. I still want them to be noticeable as doors, but I'm going to bring that down just so we have more of the children, more of the children in their faces. Again, I'm going to highlight, or sorry, not highlight, but bring the black lever down just to really get more essence. Faces, sometimes I will also bring clarity up, especially with elderly folks. Using that clarity button, and I'll show you one from Cuba where it really made a difference. You're gonna, and this is kind of mean, but I'm an older folks, so it's okay. You're gonna bring out the character of people's faces. You're gonna bring out the wrinkles. You're gonna bring out the imperfections. When you're doing model photography, you want to get rid of all of those things. But when you're doing cultural photography, that's what you want. You're doing it to capture the essence of real people. You want real people in real situations, being themselves, just being who they are. So clarity is always a good one. I am not going to touch vibrance or saturation or any of those things because it's all there. The colors, everything, it's there. We don't need to do any of that. And then I am going to just, oh, it's already flagged for export later. Now, one of the reasons that I use flagging is because up here in Lightroom, you can go to Attribute and then choose the flag. And these are all the photographs that I've flagged. So when I was after I uploaded all the photographs and I started going through the photographs, I noticed the different some different photographs that I knew I was going to want to go back to later, and so I flagged a few. So now remember, I was looking for the photograph of the little kid, one of my favorite ones. Well, here it was flagged. It was very easy for me to find out of 900 photos. And remember, 900 photos is really, really small for me. If I look on the left hand side, you can see Galapagos were upwards of 5,000 photographs. This was the Galapagos and the Amazon, but 3 weeks, or no, a little over 2 weeks, 16 days, I guess it was, over 5,000 photographs. So yeah, this 900 photographs, 909 photographs, it was a little bit slow for me. Or low for me, I should say, and it could be a lot of it because I was, busy eating my way through Spain. I'm not really sure, but lots of stuff to photograph still. But so this little guy, just precious. I mean, who doesn't want to pinch those cheeks if you could see those cheeks, right? So having things flagged makes it really easy to go back and edit things that you in your first scan that you really liked. For example, the flamenco dancer. Now, this one in particular, I wasn't sitting in the front row, so I've got a couple of heads that I'm going to need to get rid of. This was shot on shutter priority. Again, I told you I rarely shoot on automatic. People do, and that's fine, especially if you're new at photography. Shooting on automatic is a good way to get to know your camera. But then you really need to start playing with things like aperture priority and shutter priority. And those are really the only two ways I shoot, aperture or shutter priority. Now, most of the times it's aperture priority. Of course, if I'm shooting sports or any type of action, I'm going to use shutter priority. Back to the again, I can't say enough about Nikon cameras. I'm a huge fan. The Nikon 6 full frame mirrorless 6.2 I happen to really love. Just nailed it. Low light, a high ISO, and no noise. This was a very high ISO. In fact, we can look at the metadata. Oh, no, it's not going to give it to me there. The metadata should be, there it is. The metadata is over here. It should tell me what ISO I had it at, and it's not giving it to me. Okay. Usually it will give you what you shot it at. Not exactly sure. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. Maybe it has to be under develop. Nope. Well, now, isn't that fun? So it should be under metadata, in theory. I mean, it's giving me the dimensions. Great, that's cool. Give me date, cool. Customize. Oh, all right. So ISO speed rating. There we go. Let's see. There we go. So you can see it was at, I found it. So you can see it was shot at ISO 5000. Now that's really high. That's a really high ISO. And yet there's very little noise. It's a low light situation. ISO 5000 due to low light and using shutter priority to capture a moment in time while there's heavy movement. And as some of you may or may not know, flamenco is very, very fast. So using this high shutter speed and using shutter priority where the camera is concentrating and letting you choose the shutter speed, you're able to capture movement and capture a moment in time. So this photograph, it's got a lot of work that needs to do. I'm not going to take the time to do that right now because I want to get rid of this guy. I want to get rid of this head. I want to get rid of this shadow and her cell phone and see what I can do to clean it up. But it actually is a fun one because it really gives a moment in time. What else? This is another one that I flagged to edit. And actually, we can go ahead and do that now. This is the Mezquita, the cathedral that was the Catholic cathedral that was set inside of a mosque. Just an incredible place. I've seen photographs of this my whole life. And there I was, again, that feeling like, wow, I'm really seeing this, and here I am. So, we were some of the first people to be let in the afternoon visit. They're limiting people because of COVID still. So we got to some spots where people hadn't gotten yet, which was really nice. But, there is one person standing here. Don't really want that in the photograph. So let's go ahead and edit in Photoshop. We're going to do this again. Edit with adjustments, even though we haven't made any. That's fine. So now it's in Photoshop. And I'm going to take this tool right here, which is the Spot Healing Brush tool. And I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. And then we're just going to kind of remove that person. Again, I'm sure that's a really nice person. No offense. Make that a little bit bigger so we can see. Let's try and... we're going to clean this up. Oh, we'll get rid of these people too. And just kind of clean that up. Now I'm going to make this smaller. And I'll just get rid of this person here that I noticed. I know you'd think I don't like people the way I'm just erasing them, but no, that's not the truth, huh? All right, so now what I'm going to do is take that clone tool again. See the one on the left there, the clone stamp tool, and I just want to kind of clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to Alt and left click to capture, and we're just going to clean this up. Actually, you know what? Let's remove that. Let's go backwards. We're going to, whoops, I didn't mean to do that one. Let's go back and do that again. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go back to the clone stamp tool. So we can make mistakes. It's not a problem. You just go Control Z, just take it right back. This is not too bad as it is, although I do want to clear it up a little bit. So, whoops. So I'm going to function and make this bigger, and then do a copy and just kind of bring that over like that. I still don't like that. No, I'm just going to get rid of it. I'll go to the clone or the stamp tool and just do it that way. All right, so we've kind of gotten rid of some things. It's not perfect, but it'll do. One of the things I'm going to do, though, is fix the gate. We can just fix the gate there. That kind of takes away some of the issue. We'll clone stamp here and bring that down. Just kind of gets rid of some of the blurriness from having used the spot healing brush. And again, I don't like to use these tools all the time, but they are handy when you are are in a place, and people are just not going to get out of the way, or a car comes across and gets yeah, the person sorry, the person reflection on the floor, exactly. So we're going to use the clone stamp for that one, and we are going to just widen that up. We're going to take this right next to it, and we're just going to get rid of the shadow. And now the person's gone. So again, not perfect. There are some other things. We could take a little bit of the darker area and blend that in. Just blend across. Whoops, that one didn't do what I wanted it to. Blend across. But, we can play with it. And I'll play with it a little bit more. But if we bring it back out, whoops, that was a little too far back. If we bring it back out, we can see, and this can be adjusted, but we've at least gotten rid of the major issues. We've gotten rid of the glaring. Oh, there's another person on the left. I now see just a little bit of an arm. And let's go back to our spot healer, and we're just going to clear the arm there and clear the person. And that's good enough. All right, so now, oh, I see another person. These people just keep getting in the way, right? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, the patch tool. Yeah, the patch tool. Good mention, Flavia. The patch tool it does work as really well. These, see, I mean, there's a person here. I'm going to make sure I'm on the right tool. Yep. We're just going to get rid of that red. We don't want that to distract. It's distracting. Those tools, there are a lot of tools in Photoshop that are really, really handy. As Flavio mentioned, the healing brush, I use that a lot. I use the stamp too on the edges. Using the stamp tool with the edges is phenomenal because you can really use the edges to just tighten things up. And then the patch tool is helpful as well. So for this though, and again, I'll go back and fix some of that later, but we're gonna just save that back to Lightroom. There are the people, and there are no people again. There's that thing. Here's the church. Here's the steeple. Open the door. Where are the people? Old U.S. joke. I don't know if that translates to other places in the world, but there you go. So we've got, at least a picture, and again, I will fix this, but we've got at least a picture here where it's cleared up a lot, and we're just left with the portions that we want. Going into developing, let's again bring the blacks up. We can balance this out a little bit more by lifting the shadows. So we're balancing the colors in the photograph, and we can take down the highlights a little bit. So we're balancing it out a little bit. We still are going to have, and we want the effect of the sun coming in there from the side, but it also balances it out. Sometimes in this type of photography, travel photography, cultural photography, whatever it might be, you don't necessarily always have the time to get the perfect light settings because you have one or two opportunities to get that shot. So yeah, this is something that you can do in post-production. I often do a little bit of balancing with highlights and shadows to correct anything I might want. And I think I'd like to bring the shadows up a little bit more just to get some more of this color in there. We can saturate it a tiny drop. Again, I don't like using saturation and vibrance too much. Take multiple pics on a tripod, slower shutter. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the dream, Flavio. That is truly the dream, and I've done the exact same thing. What Flavio's talking about is using a tripod, multiple shots to get the clean shot without people. Multiple shots and then layer them. You can layer them in Photoshop, and that works really well too. Obviously, sometimes we just don't have that opportunity, and a lot of places, especially over the last 20 years, won't allow you to bring a tripod in because it's a potential weapon. So that is something to be aware of when traveling. That some places don't allow tripods. I didn't see anybody with tripods in this particular location. They didn't seem to have a regulation against it in this particular location, but there was a limited amount of time that you really could spend in there because of COVID. They had time blocks of allowing people in. So, that is a great way to do it. Sometimes just not possible. And when it's not possible, that's where Photoshop and those stamp tools and all those things come in handy. I tend to, which is what happened here, instead of utilizing the tripod and layering method, ran for an area of this beautiful building where I at least there were fewer people, because we were, the first, 30 people to be let in. So a large building, and I ran for an area where less people had gotten to. So I only had a couple people to remove. But yeah, that is really, really hard when you're doing any type of architecture or travel photography. I mean, you saw in the Gaudi photographs that it just was very difficult to remove all the people in front of the building. And then sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you don't necessarily want a clean photograph. This kind of environment, yeah, you do. Others, having the people in front might add to it. So, it's a little bit of a mix. So, this is good. We could actually try editing in some other programs as well. Sorry. Some of my favorites, other than Adobe. Sometimes time, weather, lighting conditions. Yeah, absolutely. Places all over the world. I mean, Oregon's like this, so I'm used to it. Wait a minute and the weather's going to change. 1 minute it's sunny, the next minute it's hailing, or snowing. So yeah, those are considerations as well. Inside of buildings, it's not as much as you noted, Flavio. But yeah, if you're outside, it can be a real problem. Some of the programs I like to use in editing outside of Adobe Photoshop, and of course Lightroom, which is where I store everything. Again, not sponsored by any of these people. Aurora HDR, I'm a fan of it. Using it limited, of course, limited situations. And Luminar is also part of that package. And then Topaz, denoise, gigapixel, and sharpen AI. I found these, I started using these just maybe about 6 months ago. I found them, and artificial intelligence has come a long way. The Topaz Sharpen isn't a fix-all, as you saw in the beginning when we tried to sharpen a really blurry photo. It just didn't do it. But I had some that were just slightly blurry, and the Topaz Sharpen AI, this one here, amazing. I can't stress it enough. I don't know what it sells for in the euro or in pounds, but I know it sells for about $84 US. And it's really a good value. I get nothing if you buy it. It's, again, not sponsored by these people. Just a tool I like to use, and I like to share my tools with people. Topaz is really fun. Gigapixel denoise to get rid of noise in your higher ISO settings. Low light situations where you might have some noise when you blow it up. Super program with that. And the Topaz Sharpen, when you just have a little blur, it's the AI really has been able to fix it. You use Luminar Neo, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah, the Luminar Neo Sharpen and Denoise. Yeah, I have used those. I've just started, like 6 months ago, playing with this Topaz program, and it's yeah, it's a miracle. It's a lifesaver, because there are some times when I find this especially in bird photography, when I'm traveling. Like, for example, when I was in the Galapagos, I did a lot of bird photography, and they really, you get it, and it's a beautiful photograph, and then maybe just like one part of the wing is just not quite clear, or as clear as you would like it. For me, the Topaz Sharpen, or the Luminar Neo, those AI sharpening tools really are life saving and do make a difference. So yeah, Flavia, those are good too. I like Aurora, and again, I use it sparingly. I'm not a fan of things being over high definition, to over HDR'd. But sometimes you really need to make something pop, even if you do it a little bit. The thing with Aurora HDR is it's not all or nothing. You don't have to 100% HDR a photograph. You can HDR a photograph just 5%, 10%, just to make something pop. In fact, why don't we do that right here? We'll just play around with it, edit a copy with the Lightroom adjustments, of course. And we're going to go ahead and bring up Aurora HDR, create HDR. That's the workflow it does. Improving colors, final touches to make it awesome. Okay. No, I don't want that. No, that's too much. For me, that's like, that does not look real. So I don't, this is what it looks like originally. And this is what it looks like. I mean, the light work is good. You can see there's some more people here. We can always just trim that down. We don't need to get rid of them. That's originally, and that's HDR. I like it because it's showing the marble that it wasn't showing before. So, it's giving some depth to all of this, which is great. But you can do all sorts of fun things with it, like ethereal drama. I don't particularly like that one. Let's undo it. Come on, undo it. Undo it. Thank you. So this is just the HDR that it did right off the bat. Now what we can do is we can lessen this. We don't have to. If we go over here, we can lessen the HDR on that. That'll kind of remove some of it, so it's not so HDR'd, shall we say, not so high definitioned. HDR enhance, we can bring the softness up a little bit. We don't need to do anything with color. We don't, okay, details boost. We don't need to do anything with that. The warmth is fine. You can work on just the top and just the bottom. You can use the tone curve, which is fun. Sometimes that is easier to do. That's way too bright, as you can see. The AIs on these things are pretty good. So I don't tend to, I mean, we can bring that up a little bit. I don't tend to play around with tone curves as much, only because they've really, in the last 5 years or so, they've really honed the AIs in most of these programs. You've got a dodge and burn in here. A lot of different things you can do within the Aurora program. So, we've done a little bit of HDR. Again, this was the original, and this was HDR'd, and it's, in this case, I mean, it's not bad. I'll keep this as an option. It's not going to get rid of my original photo. Go back to Lightroom, and it has given me a second copy. I still have, of course, the original copy, and then the HDR. But it sometimes, again, in architecture, HDR is nice because it brings out the stone, the textures, things like that. Otherwise, I'm not a fan of using HDR too much. I think it's sometimes overused, And so you have to use things like that sparingly. We're just going to cut those people out because we just don't need them there. And I think we're gonna crop this up a bit here too, just so we really get the full force of the arches. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can do when you're editing your photographs. You're again, actually, you know what? I want to angle this a little bit more so it's a little straighter. I can't stress enough how important it is to trust your own eye. After all, if you're shooting a photograph, whether you're a professional, an amateur, or semi-pro, whatever you are, you're doing it because you love photography. And if you love photography, you've got to trust your eye. You see things and you capture things the way your heart tells you to. And trust that instinct. I think that's one of the most important things with photography is people tend to look at someone else taking a shot and think, oh, I'll take that shot too. Yeah, okay, sure, you can do that. Take your own shot. Walk around. Look and see what does your eye see? When you get to, and this is my initial workflow, I should say, is that when I'm taking shots, when I'm doing the photography itself, I move around, and at some point I stand in a spot that my heart in my head and my eye just says, oh, that's it. And I may take, something like this, 40, 50, 60 shots because it's so incredible, and you're taking shots, and oh my God, this is beautiful too, and that's beautiful too, and oh, what about this? And out of all those shots, one may be the one that you fall in love with. And that's okay. That's the beauty of digital, is you don't have to, get all of that developed. But, you try different angles, try different, try low down, try high up, try, crooked, try to the side, whatever you want. But your heart and your mind are going to connect, and you're going to say, yeah, that's it. This feels right. Even when you're just taking the photograph, you're going to, at some point, some of the photographs, you're going to say, this feels right. This is the shot. This is why I'm here with my camera. This is why I have lugged all this gear with me to take these photographs, because you're going to get that feeling that this is the shot you wanted. And again, even if all of your settings, weren't perfect because you were in a rush or there are too many people or whatever the situation might be, there are all of these tools to enhance what you've already done and bring what you saw and what you captured really to life. And that's essentially what you're doing. That's essentially what you're doing with photography. That's essentially what I do with photography, is to bring moments of life to life. I know it's kind of a weird way of saying it, but that's what I like doing. All right, I'm gonna end for today. I will be back, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I thank you for joining me. I really appreciate all of your support, especially as being new to Twitch. I've been a photographer for a long, long time, way too long. As I noted in the beginning, my brother was a photographer during the Vietnam War. My father was a amateur photographer. My grandfather was a professional photographer, and although he did not get credit for it, invented the photo booth. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you guys again. And if you have things that you would like me to talk about, don't hesitate to shoot me a message. You can find me on Instagram and on the web, on my website at fredericophotography.com. That's FREDERICO photography.com. And it was great to meet you too, Flavio. Great to meet all of you. And have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks.